Welcome to the Select Star Podcast, your resource for innovative technology, developer topics, and more. Here's your host, Margot McCabe from the HarperDB team.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Select Star Podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm really excited about our guest today. We have Matteo Collina, who is a core contributor of Node.js. Among many other things, which I'll let him introduce himself in a minute. But thank you so much for joining us. It's really great to meet you.
Hi, Margot. Nice to meet you too. And hello, everybody that are listening here. It's a pleasure to be a part of the show. So, hey, hi.
And where are you based out of?
I live in Forlì. It's a small city near Bologna, an hour drive from Bologna in Italy, which is probably a little bit far away from where you are used to.
I love Italy. It's I've been fortunate enough to visit a couple times, and it's definitely one of my favorite European countries. I have some friends there that are in the Milan area. They keep saying we need to plan another trip, so I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, absolutely. You should definitely come over.
Well, hey, and sorry, now my dog is groaning right behind me if you hear him. So before we get started, I would love to just hear kind of an introduction in case people listening aren't familiar, just kind of who you are, your background, journey into tech, and what you're working on.
So yeah, let me start. Who I am. I am Matteo. I maintain Node as Spark together with a bunch of other people. A lot of the things where I usually end up working on in Node.js is the massive project. Okay, like 100+ people collaborate on it every week, every month. So it's like it's a massive project. So anyway, as part of like my activity is mostly on streams, HTTP, security, a lot of those things like that. So it's a lot of work. Like from time to time, it's a lot of tiny work and a lot of silent work too. In some cases, it's good. Typically, if you see a security release or something, I did some work on that. And by the way, if you're using Node.js, you should probably subscribe to the security mailing list if you haven't. You receive very low traffic. We mail you only when there is a security vulnerability, a security release coming. So only few people can send you emails on that, which is just great. That's cool. Awesome. Okay. So on top of that, I have been for 8.5 years till June, I've been working at a company called Nearform. It's a professional services company, remote, distributed, and so on and so forth. However, I left Nearform at the mid-June, and now I'm taking some time off or whatever to do some open source before starting something new in September. So you'll probably hear from me sooner rather than later.
That's exciting. Congrats. Change is always good. It seems like if you have some time off in between, you won't regret that. And so yeah, I'm excited to be chatting with you. Obviously, I'm sure anyone listening is familiar with Node or uses or has used Node. And even here at HarperDB, we actually our team built, the first and only database written in Node.js. So we've done lots of talks and blogs and articles and things about how our team is such big fans of Node. So thank you from everyone for the work you and the whole community are doing on it. I think that NPM and the whole community around it is what makes it such an awesome framework to work with.
Thank you. Oh, well, I didn't mention this because it was probably very interesting. It's I am also the author of a framework called Fastify, and then I have more or less like 60 billion downloads per per year on NPM, if that means anything to anybody. But it's what it is. Okay, so
yeah, Fastify is great. We use it as well. It's I know our dev team has had lots of great things to say about it as well, and I've seen it growing.
Yeah.
I've seen people talking about it more on Twitter and more events around and more workshops. So seems like you guys are doing a good job. So I'd love to hear a little bit about kind of how you fell into this, or how you even became a contributor of Node.js, just in case people listening are wanting to get involved in open source or wanting to get involved in a project like that and not sure where to start.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's actually very interesting. So first of all, I got started in Node because I started using Node.js back in 2010, 2011. I was doing my PhD and I had a lot of my prototypes or my research to develop. I wanted something that was fast enough, but also gave me enough, or more or less as fast as Java. That would be the TLDR of it. And however, with a massive speed of development. Like I needed to develop a lot of things very quickly, because otherwise I will be I will not finish my PhD on time, essentially. So at the end, I started doing stuff with Node, and worked on my research for a few years, as well as in a small agency. And then after my PhD finished, after I ran out of money on the PhD, and essentially it's that's how PhD works. You give a grant of a lump of money, and that's it. And then I went to work. I finished. I did my defense, and then I went working for Nearform, this company in the in Ireland, and all completely remote and global. So yeah.
And so was it hard to kind of juggle being a contributor for Node on the side while working for Nearform full time? I mean, how much?
So I did. So this is a very interesting point. So as I started working I became a collaborator in Node.js for a few reasons. Well, the first main reason is I had stuff I wanted to change, stuff I wanted to implement, I had features that I wanted to add. So most of it, I just wanted to improve the project, and I wanted to do it. That's it. That's the reason why you start contributing to a project like Node. You have some frustration with the project, you're missing features, bugs, whatever. At the beginning, it was just bugs. Okay. I had a few bugs that I really wanted to solve, and nobody was working on them, and I sent them the PRs on fixing the bugs.
Okay.
And I fixed those bugs. Happy days.
Well, good. That's awesome. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate that.
Fixed those bugs.
You make a good point, though. I mean, don't get involved in a project just because it sounds like something a lot of people are doing. You should feel passionate about it and see an
that's one of the questions that a lot of people that are successful in open source or unsuccessful in open source have in common in that sense. You just don't say, oh, this is an amazing open source. It's very hard to say, this is an amazing open source project, I want to collaborate to that. It's almost like, doesn't really work that way. I've not seen many people start doing things in that way. I have seen more people I have a certain bugs, a certain features, a certain stuff that I want to improve, and then from there jumping in the project.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Make sure you can provide value, and that there's something you can bring to the table and something you can fix or add before just jumping in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, again, it's very important from my point of view.
Yeah. And with projects like that, I mean, is it, you can put as much time in as you want? Are you making sure that you're dedicating a couple hours a week, or is it just on an as needed?
So I was Nearform funded me to work on Node.js and other open source projects more or less 1 day a week. So I was available. I could do open source stuff for 1 day a week, more or less.
That's great. Sounds like a
so
great
that was because Nearform saw the value in it. It's a great company. Open source is a clear differentiator for them. So that's the reason why they were doing they were actually funding my work and making sure that I could do that, and as well as do the other task of my job. But I was more or less one day of self-directed open source work.
That's great. And have you made a lot of friends or a lot of connections through this work?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I have friends all over the globe now.
Yeah.
Like we did our Node.js Collaborator Summit in Austin, Texas last month, and it was like we haven't met like since 2019, and it was just like I don't know, it was like Christmas where you all meet together, family. Oh, I missed you, hugs and hugs, like people that you talk to on a weekly basis, and you finally meet them. It's a big relief.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think I saw there's another Node conference coming up in the Europe somewhere.
Yeah, NodeConf. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Would love to try to get our team out there at some point. But that's
you should. I'm part of the organization of it, so you should.
Cool. So awesome. Well, I've heard nothing but good things about it, so we'll definitely add it to our list.
You should come. It's you should definitely come if. For sure. Like reach out and big time. It's an amazing conf. Loving. It's amazing to be there. So I've been there since the beginning to each one of the editions.
Oh, wow.
And organizing it since the last. It's run by Nearform, and I'm still helping out with all the work.
Oh, cool. So you're pretty well connected, to say the least, in that community.
Yeah.
So what's one of your favorite projects that you've seen that's built with Node? Do you have any top of mind that you just think are really cool applications?
I need to think. Like favorite or cooler or what's
Either,
let me think. So it's not one specifically, okay? However, very often you open up some disclaimer notice of an application or something, and then that, oh, this thing was built with Node, or it was built thanks to Node. And then he says, oh, so these guys are using my stuff to do this. Oh, it's amazing. I'm very happy. Okay, so that's it's not something specifically. It's every single developer in the world probably has this thing installed. So every single developer out there in the world is using my software. So it's I don't know. That's my favorite stuff. Is what everybody's building with it. And using it, and like it's on every single developer's machine these days.
Right.
So it's that permissive. So
it's probably incredibly hard to just pick one that you're excited about, because each day you're seeing new projects and new applications and ideas and talking to more people.
It's like it's more of what can enable people to do nicer things, okay? And enable them to develop things faster, lower the barrier of entry, making sure more people can get into technology, can start developing applications, and more businesses can get into tech and release software to the world, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it. So I would love to also hear a little bit more about Fastify, in case people aren't familiar. What makes it?
So Fastify it's a web framework for Node.js. It started back in 2016, but it has been growing a lot lately. It has been on this nice growth path. More or less, we doubled our download counts for whatever it matters in the last year. So it started to get a decent size, essentially, of a project, if you call it, if you if you get what I mean. It's a phenomenal system to build new APIs. So if you need to build an API, you can just use Fastify. I would say that's the go-to framework for you to build APIs today on Node.js. I would also say that you can use it for everything, but if you want to do some very specialized things like server-side rendering or those of stuff, there are very specialized framework like Next or Remix or Svelkit or whatever that are way better than, well, not way better, but they're more specialized. So it's a different job. So that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there's always new frameworks, languages, tools popping up. So it's fun to see which ones stick around, like Fastify that has picked up a lot of momentum versus some of the other ones that, you hear about and then you don't hear about. Which brings me to my next question. I was curious if you have any thoughts on Bun. I know a lot of people have been talking about it on social media and debating like they always do.
So, okay, it is my bit on Bun. Okay. I typically work on servers, okay, and I build APIs. And Bun does not run my frameworks. So I don't know.
So you don't have a lot of thoughts on it.
I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. No.
Yeah. Are there any other any other like tools or technologies, even outside of frameworks, something else that you're excited about right now or that you see that's coming out that you really want to learn and use, or just any other technologies that are making your life easier right now? I know people always love to hear about like, what's the next thing that I need to be checking out?
Oh, you check out Bun. Bun is great. Okay. I love Jared. I've been following Jared for all his journey.
Yeah.
In his evolution of Bun in the course of last year. And then I have seen where it's going. Okay. However, it's still very early days. That's my take.
Yeah.
So I would say check out Bun. Bun is great. I'm building subscribe to my newsletter, nodeland.dev. I will be announcing some new open source projects that some new open source projects that I've been working and I will be releasing soon. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'll be sure to put all those links in the show notes and everything for folks listening. Also was curious, I know we touched on open source community and how great it is that you're making friends and that you have these connections and you can kind of work on it on your own time. But if people listening are also considering maybe leaving what they're doing or getting involved in open source community, do you have any tips or any drawbacks or challenges that you've had to deal with? Like if you could give yourself 5 years ago some advice that you didn't know then, anything that comes to mind?
Oh, I have an infinite amount. Okay. It's the biggest advice that I would give my previous version of me is avoid imposter syndrome. Okay. You can, I don't know. I don't know many people suffer from it. Okay. But I'm one of those. And the first person that needs to believe that you can do something is yourself. And that would be what I would tell me. I made something happen despite my imposter syndrome to some extent, but life would be significantly simpler if at certain moments of my life I would have believed in myself a little bit more and just made things happen. So that would be my main recommendation, which is a little bit higher level and odd. But just believe that you can contribute, that you can do something, that in fact you're not less skilled or more skilled. You just have your own skills compared to other people on the internet. So there are people more skilled than you always. There are people less skilled than you always. So you're just a person. So you're just one. So but you could do something anyway.
Yeah.
and something that would impact your future, your career, and so on. Yeah, that would be my recommendation to my younger self.
I think that's a great reminder. And I was talking to someone recently that said, everyone thinks like, oh, I'm not qualified to do this, or I'm not technically XYZ, but it's like, who gives you the right? Who's the person that says, okay, now you can call yourself a Node.js developer, or whatever it might be? Like, who's the one that's being the gatekeeper saying you can't do these things? And a lot of times it's just yourself. So
It's just yourself. Yeah, exactly. It's just yourself. Yeah, that's the bit. That's the fundament. Who said you can do open source and make a living out of it or something? Yeah, yourself. You're probably, you're the person that is blocking yourself from doing most of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a great reminder. And so yeah, looking ahead, I know you said you have a couple months off before you jump into something else. Are you, do you have any big plans or big goals for Node that you're going to be working on? Anything else that you're kind of excited about trying to achieve?
I want to solve a few big problems in the way we build software. So stay tuned for something new. Essentially,
Okay.
I'm not super ready to announce it yet, but also
very secretive.
I am. Yeah, I am. I'm not at liberty to disclose at the minute. Okay, I would love to, but I'm just not ready. So just let me know. I will. I'll stay tuned on my newsletter, and
Okay.
I'll definitely have something to announce in the next few months.
Well, hey, I love it. I mean, it's giving people something to get excited about, and clearly you're working on something big. So I'm excited to see what it is. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. As I said, the Node.js community has been incredible for our team and pretty much everyone that I talk to. So I'm sure you get a lot of people that are excited to chat with you. As I mentioned, I'll put all the links, everything in the show notes. And yeah, I think that was pretty much everything I had, unless you have anything else you'd like to add, Matteo. It's really great to meet you, and I'd love to keep in touch.
I think you're good. Like, again, my pitch already did. Just stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a lot of new things that I really want to fix and so on. Stay tuned on the stuff. And that's it really. I would say nodeland.dev. That would be it.
Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your summer and your sort of time off in between here, and looking forward to keeping in touch.
Thank you, Margot. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Select Star, your resource for innovative technology and developer topics. You can find our episodes in all the usual places: Spotify, Apple, Google, RSS, and YouTube. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share. You can learn more about HarperDB at harperdb.io.